Today we're going to be breaking Minecraft. As you all know, I quite like to make things walk, especially houses. Walking houses are one of my personal favourites. This one right here being my most recent. It's a little bit creepy because it's in the shape of a spider, but I think we can all agree that there's something incredibly satisfying about watching that thing move. But you see, with my Minecraft redstone contraptions, I've always been limited by a couple of things. I can't push chests or tile entities, and I can only push 12 blocks at a time. However, that all changes today, because I'm playing with the carpet mod, and that means that I can change both of those things. So there is movable chests, hoppers, dispensers, and everything like that. And there is the piston push limit increased to 1,000, which, yeah, might be a bit excessive, but I think that could be good fun. And what am I going to do with this beefed up version of Minecraft? Well, of course, I'm going to make a movable base, movable storage system, movable super smelters, the whole lot. Oh, and if you're wondering about my sugarcane suit, yeah, it's difficult to explain. Now, the first question that obviously we have to ask ourselves is, how would a base walk? Like, would it have 4 legs? Would it have 2 legs? I think the idea of a 2-legged humanoid base is a little bit creepy. Would it have 1 leg? Just hopping a hopping base across the landscape. That could be quite cool. Or 6 legs, 8 legs. It's difficult, you know? How many legs would a base have? I think I'm actually going to go down a bit of a strange route and have 12 legs. And have this thing walk almost like a little millipede. Now, I tell you what I find immediately interesting about these increased piston push limits is that you have a lot more room for decoration of redstone contraptions. Like, this looks really, really cool already. And I'm hoping it should all work. That's not what I had in mind. That's not what I had in mind in the slightest. That is really, really strange. So this redstone block right here is powering that piston, but it's not actually extending in time? I'm not entirely sure what to do about that. I guess the obvious answer is go back to the drawing board and come up with a new leg design. And I think I have just about done it. So this system right here seems to be working nicely. We should be able to extend this into a very nice, fully grown leg. And I think we can all agree that this is a very nice leg. This is a lovely looking leg, very industrial, very mechanical. And if I break this redstone block, it doesn't work. This is getting a little bit embarrassing now, isn't it? We finally got there in the end. This thing now eventually functions and does exactly what it's supposed to do and looks very cool doing it. But I definitely think it could look cooler, so I'm going to redo some of the decoration, get rid of my stair spam, and actually do something a little bit more artful. And this is exactly what I had in mind. We've got gold hinges, we've got a golden shoe. I just love the black and gold look. Blackstone is probably one of my new favourite blocks in Minecraft. So now I have to take this design here and I have to repeat it, what, 12? Maybe 10 times over? Okay, this is going to take a while. Probably best if I do it in the form of a time-lapse. Now, as I was building this, it really got me thinking about how Minecraft Redstone is balanced. Because, obviously, it's a tricky balance, Redstone. You know, you don't want it to be too easy. You don't want to just place down a block and have a fully working redstone contraption. That's no fun. But also, you want to keep things progressing and evolving. And, you know, the Observer is a great example of that. The Honey Block is a great example. Things that brought new possibilities to Minecraft Redstone without completely throwing off the balance. And I definitely think movable chests and movable hoppers and movable droppers and things, that's definitely in there. I definitely think that should be added into Java Redstone. But increasing the push limit? I don't know. I mean, definitely not to 1,000. Definitely not to 1,000. Maybe a special type of piston that can push, say, 48 blocks? That would be very cool. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Anyway, Minecraft updates aside, here are our 10 legs looking rather lovely. I've tested each and every one of them, and somehow I've actually managed to build all of them without making a single mistake. Which I don't actually think I've ever done before. So that's a bit of a surprise, but next we need to work on the flying machine. Obviously the flying machine is incredibly important because that's going to be moving the entire thing, and it's also going to control what legs fire and when. And I need to work out how I want them to walk. You know, how do I want a base to walk? Do I want it to be the front legs, then the second legs, then the third legs, fourth legs, fifth legs? Or do I want it to go kind of one side and then the other? That could be quite interesting. Or do I want it to be that leg, that leg, that leg, that leg, that leg, that. That seems to make sense to me, actually, the alternating. Going through. How would a base walk? Like, how would a base walk? If I was a base, how would I walk right now? I would say da 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 da. Yeah, Okay, let's just try and wire that up. Evidently, I've completely given up on English and I'm just speaking in Dars. I think I've come up with a good way to do this though, and it's a bit of a weird one, but it's quite simple once you understand what's happening. It looks very strange, but trust me, it's actually quite easy. What we've got is a snaking flying machine. So we're essentially sending the redstone signal through like this, and we're moving each segment in a snaking formation. So this one will be moved backwards first, which moves this leg, and then we move this one, this one, this one, and then this one, which will then move that leg, and then we move this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, which then moves that leg. And you can kind of see how the signal is being sent through the circuit. I think it will be one of those things that makes a lot more sense when it's actually up and running. So let's get all of that built up. This looks ridiculously awesome. This looks cool before I've even started decorating it, and I'm hoping it should just work if I just update this piston. First leg's going. Second leg's going. It's actually working. It's definitely not the fastest flying machine in the world, but that's kind of the point. Your base probably wouldn't move that fast. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness, that's so cool. Yes. All right, so the actual system is kind of all up and running. So now we can just get to business on actually building up the base on top. Oh, except it appears we have lost a leg. Alright, I need to try and work out what on earth has happened here then. Oh, it's actually quite simple. We're just missing a redstone block. In theory, this leg should just... No. And that's why backups exist. That right there is why backups exist. Now, I know this sounds totally ridiculous, but I am actually going to have to be slightly wary of the push limit with this thing, because I could potentially exceed 1,000 blocks, especially when I start getting honey blocks and slime blocks involved with this, and I'm pushing those structures as well. We might actually go past it. So I think I'm going to build this thing up in modules, and the first module, which is arguably the most important module of any base, is of course a storage system. So we've got ourselves a little storage system out the back here, and I honestly can't believe that this stuff can move. This feels so Minecrafty but then un-Minecrafty at the same time. Like, it feels like I'm doing something horribly wrong here, but also horribly right. And actually, I feel like I should have a little bit more decoration around these chests. Yes, that is a little bit more like it. This is actually starting to look like a proper Minecraft build. The only thing that I have to be wary of is I have to make sure that anything like that gets stuck to slime blocks, because otherwise obviously there's nothing pushing those blocks, so they'll get moved across. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of cases of that happening. Bad news, I've already hit the piston push limit. That happened way sooner than I expected. Like, a lot sooner than I expected. And legs are breaking. Okay, well, this obviously isn't a good situation. So I tore it all down and I'm starting again, and I'm doing it in a much more modular fashion. So instead of having things curving round corners, I think we're going to have just modules of things that I want in my base. So the first one is going to be a storage system. I think I'm going to have another storage system here, and then we can move on to the other bits. That is, if this one works. I haven't actually tried it out yet. If we fail on this one, then I give up. You'll be happy to hear that it does actually work. This, I'm a little bit dubious of, though. I mean, I like the idea. I love the idea, in fact, of having like this archway, and then we have all the chests and things. So you kind of have like a 3-tier storage system here. But we might be pushing the limits. We genuinely might be pushing the limits with this one, which has led me to come up with a fairly interesting idea. So if I just place in these walls, what I've done is I'm essentially resetting the piston push limit in this area. So we have the observers, we have all of these pistons lined up, and these pistons are going to push the next phase of the base. And then I'm thinking, if I just get myself some black stone stairs, we should be able to cover up any of that a little bit like that, and that looks really cool. That's actually an improvement. Oh, and if you're wondering why I've got this glazed terracotta floor, yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice, but glazed terracotta has the wonderful property that it doesn't actually stick to slime blocks or honey blocks, which means that, say for example, this honey block right here, it's not sticking to any of these blocks, so it's not sticking to this block and then adding this entire line to its push limit. Instead, it's just treating it as a regular block. I hope that made sense. I feel like that might not have made sense to people who don't understand that game mechanic. And clearly, all of redstone doesn't make sense to me, because we've hit the piston push limit again. I never thought I'd hit 1,000. Except we didn't. Spent hours troubleshooting this problem without making any further progress on the build. The backup I was using didn't have movable tile entities on as being movable. So the chests and everything, And the furnaces were just immovable objects. It was like having an obsidian in my build and wondering why it wasn't working. I'm laughing because otherwise I'd be gone. Okay, well with that in mind, now let's try continuing forward, alright? I've also just found out that ender chests are obviously not movable. They're made of obsidian. What was I thinking? At this point, it's just getting a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? Well, finally, after a lot of headaches, here's what we've got. A 10-legged black and gold base that has 3 storage systems, a furnace system, an armor equipping station, an observation deck that moves. It walks. It walks across the landscape, and it actually does it quite quickly now. I've decided I wanted to speed things up a little bit because the original design was a tiny bit slow. So this one is considerably quicker, and as you can see, it just works. It just gradually walks along, which is like the weirdest thing in the world. So starting things off at the back here, we've got ourselves our back storage system. Then we have an extra storage system right here for all of the extra bits and pieces that we need. And then we have even more chests available to us because obviously, you know, when you're being nomadic, you have to carry everything with you. So you're going to need plenty of storage. Then here is our furnace system, complete with smokers and also blast furnaces. And here's a really interesting one, okay? Armor equipping station. I currently have no armor on. If I just hop inside here and place down a minecart, you can see I am now fully equipped in the stuff. Obviously, you know, you have to be careful of the base moving while you're in there and the minecart's in there. But still, how cool is that? Now, obviously, with this base being on the move and all, we probably need to watch out where we're going. So I thought it would be cool to install this little system right here, which is just a little viewing platform. You know, I can stand up at the top. I can see that village over there about to become very, very close neighbors. I mean, this is about as cool as it gets. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. It's so unnecessary. But I absolutely love it. So, there we have it, ladies and gents. That is a walking base in Minecraft. A big thank you to the carpet mod and, of course, Gnembon, who created the carpet mod, for making all of this possible. This has been incredibly eye-opening for me. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's really made me think about what features I personally would love to see in Minecraft. And of course, if you have enjoyed, then please do hit that like button, subscribe, all that business. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. See ya. And now that the video's over, I can confirm there were times when I was recording this where I did not think I was going to be able to finish it. I genuinely thought that I had come up with an idea that actually turned out to be impossible and I just hadn't realised it. But I'd sunk so many hours into it at the time that I was like, you know what, I just have to make this work. I went through so many different designs before reaching that end one.